So if we take a look at what happened earlier on the day in race 2, if we watch the car that's running the third on the inside line there, Gary Duckman gets all twitchy on the corner and the car span out. So here we started from the back of the pack. We only got 7 cars out there because Stuart Calder didn't finish. Neither did Luke Calder. He'd actually started right down the 7th. So the reverse grids allowed Sarah Franklin in the Class B a bar start on pole position, but the Class A cars around her, Anthony Williams, Steve Johnson and Morris Hayden. Now order the lights go out then. Sarah Franklin gets a relatively good start, but then the power comes in and Anthony Williams will go to the front. Good start from Morris Hayden, he goes second, and here comes Steve Johnson on the inside of him as they turn into Paddock Hill Bend. There's a bit of contact and Morris Hayden loses the car, but he holds it all together fantastically. Brilliant save from the ex-Stock Hats champion Morris Hayden in that older check Renault McGowan as they head through the right-hander now. Through Drubit, and Anthony Williams with quite a big lead now because of the save from Hayden. No one else had to back out of it. It's the race 1 winner, Joe Gerling, that sits there in third. Then it's Gary Duckman. Then Steve Johnson's fallen down there to what is 5th position, and he's got Luke Cordell, the Xfinity Challenge race winner from last year, sitting there behind him in 6th position. He won the race yesterday. He was on the way to victory this morning, but there's a problem with the car which cut him into retirement. So here come the leaders in the top 4 altogether, and Cordell's got Johnson, I think, they head through Clark Curve, and it is Anthony Williams there just ahead of Morris Hayden. Joe Gerling and Gary Duckman stuck at the back there. Now Luke Cordell's going to have to work his way up the order, and there's Sarah Franklin, the only Class B car, running there in 7th position. So here they cut leaders come then out of Druitt and Duckman all over the back of Joe Gerling, who was the winner of race 2 of the weekend. This morning's race that was that Joe Gerling took the victory in running. He wins for the majority of the race right behind Luke Cordell, but we're going to have to change for the lead. Oh, here's the 2 McGanns almost go side by side. Yes, they do. Morris Hayden fits his way up on the inside. Gerling has to use a lot of curve to avoid hitting the back of Anthony Williams, and now he makes his move up on the inside at clear way. Following him through will be Gary Duckman. Luke Cordell's closed up, but now he's got to make sure he doesn't get stuck behind the car of Anthony Williams as they head through Clark Curve again, and Cordell makes a nice quick move to get 4th position. So now we got what probably could be called the fast 4 of the race as they head into Paddock Hill Bend then. So Hayden with a small gap to Gerling. Hayden's probably Morris Hayden then. Morris Hayden still leads. I was saying that Morris Hayden is probably the slower of the top 4, but he's not slow at all, just slightly slower than, like I say, the rest of the top 4. So it should certainly be a hard feat for Joe Gerling, Gary Duckman and Luke Cordell to find a way through to get ahead of the race lead on Morris Hayden. So here they come then out of Clark Curve to complete what is another lap of this 20-minute production touring car race through the Paddock Hill Bend. Go then, Hayden gets the car a little bit twitchy at the bottom of the hill, and here comes Gary Duckman having a real go at Joe Gerling as they head up the hill, but at the moment Duckman continues there in the 3rd position. He couldn't quite find a way past Gerling. At the moment Hayden keeping a slight gap. Gerling gets a good run off the corner, and here comes Luke Cordell, but he cannot find a way past, he cannot find a way through ahead of Gary Duckman as they head now down towards Surtees corner, the left hand of the fast corner. Gerling getting closer to Hayden now. Morris Hayden, the ex-Stock Hats champion, and Gerling really trying to have a go, but he couldn't find a way through. He had it on the grass ever so slightly to avoid running into Morris Hayden's Renault Megane. So the Vauxhall Astra stayed there in 2nd. The 2 Seat Leons 3rd and 4th as they pass the pit lane and into Paddock Hill Bend. You can see the 4 of them absolutely together, nothing separating any of them. None of them as of yet are able to find a way through ahead of the car in front of them. And here comes again, this is a really good move from Duckman round the outside, but he can't quite overlap Gerling enough, and now Cordell's going to have a go down the hill, but he cannot do that either. So 2nd, 3rd and 4th, they all attacked each other up into the hairpin, but they all stayed in the same position. Ultra competitive motorsport here in the Production Touring Car Championship, run by the BARC, and as is the British Touring Car Championship. So maybe possible future touring car drivers out there in this one. So we'll have to watch out for that as the two teammates go side by side in the Sayats once again. Corder coming right round the outside as they head down into paddock. Darkman stands his ground on the inside line and stays in front of Cordell for the moment as they drop down the hill again. They're in fifth position as Anthony Williams had something shreds of somebody's car, and Anthony Williams takes it further up the hill. It must have been one of the two Sayats, I reckon. Shredded bodywork up the hill, but all seems to be okay at the moment. We'll have to see. Either car seems to be affected from whatever happened at the bottom of paddock. There didn't appear to be any contact. So, ultra competitive racing between these four cars at the front. Again, there goes Gurley trying to find a way past Hayden, can't do it. And then he's through paddock where the two Sayats are now. So from now to out of paddock, the Sayats seem to really close in on the cars in front. Let's see what happens this time as they power down the Brabham straight down into paddock. And Joe Gurley sitting there in second. He won the race this morning. And then Duckman there in third, using a bit of curb. And you can see that back onto the tail of the Astra is Gary Duckman. As on to the brakes they go once again through the right-hander, which is a Druid's hairpin. Then they sprint down the hill. Morris Hayden and Joe Gurley once again getting away down the hill from the cars behind. So it's very interesting to see that happening. So they now turn through the left-hander, which is Surtees. Then they quickly turn into the right-hander, that is McLaren, and then onto the brakes, slowing the car down for the third right-hander, which is clear. Waiting to see the four cars actually together. And again, the Renault and the Vauxhall are slightly further ahead of the Sayats. But then as they come down the straight and through paddock, the Sayats normally loop straight back onto the back of the top two. And it seems to perhaps be the power of the Sayats that are bringing them closer as they turn through the right-hander. Paddock Hayden so quick through there. And Gurley just kicks up the debris, and then they're straight back through Druids. We get all four of them absolutely together. Hayden runs out really wide and just about holds onto the circuit. Wow, this is Gurley's chance. He looked up on the inside, he couldn't find a way through. So they continue down towards 70s. Yeah, but they're close. Okay, as they turn into it. Then they all spread out on the exit of the corner because this is the longest bit of power they're on through Clark Ave and all the way down the. And is any of them going to Duckman? But then. So into paddock he'll bend for Morris Hayden. He continues to lead the way then from Joe Gurley, Gary Duckman and Lou Cordell as they head up into the right-hander at Druid's hairpin. As they now head down the hill side by side as Joe Gurley tries to come around Morris Hayden as they now head down the hill, down the straight. And here comes Luke Cordell up on the inside of Gary Duckman, and he's got it done, has he? Yes, up to third, but then Gary Duckman fights back through McLaren Clearways. He's got the inside line, turn through the right-hander. It's back into third position for Gary Duckman. We thought that Luke Cordell had fought away from Hadden. As in front, Gurley having a good go at Morris Hayden down the straight then. And round the outside attempts Gurley. The four of them has one into paddock. Morris Hayden carries all that speed through paddock again then. He continues to lead. Gurley in second. Duckman just hold it off Cordell at this point of the race. They turn through the right-hander now then at Druid, and look at Cordell round the outside. He can't find a way through yet. He can't find a way past Gary Duckman as they turn, which is Graham Hill bend. They head down into Surtees, and again Duckman has to defend from Luke Cordell as they turn into Clearways. Gurley was having a good go at Morris Hayden, the Vauxhall Astra driver, trying to get ahead of the Renault Megane, and he continues to try to come up on the inside for Clark Kirby. Morris Hayden's left him a gap, and Joe Gurley goes up to the front then. So we've got a new race leader, that is Joe Gurley at the front then, as they turn through paddock now. Gary Duckman knows he needs to get through past Morris Hayden as quick as possible, like I was saying earlier, Morris Hayden, as now Cordell tries to come past Duckman. We know that Hayden isn't quite as quick as the three of them as Cordell runs out of road. So, therefore, we expect that Duckman want to try and find a way through into the lead of the race as soon as he can. So into clearways they go then, and down the Brabham straight they will drive. And Duckman pulls out the slipstream and down into paddock. He'll bend and right round the outside goes Duckman. He will get second here. We know Hayden's quick for the corner, but he doesn't want to make contact with Gary Duckman. So Morris Hayden allows the Seat driver to go up into second. So now it's Girling with that 3/4 of a second lead over Duckman, and then we got Hayden and Cordell out of the Graham Hill when they go down into 30s, and Cordell's going to try and make this move into 30s work on Hayden, and he has got it done. Sarah Franklin about to be lapped, so Joe Gordon have to find a way past her. Nicely done up on the inside. Gary Duckman lights a blaze now, and he turns it back off again just to it was all just to allow Sarah Franklin to know that he was there. So now turn through the right-hander. Morris Hayden almost slides into the side of the theatre bar. 6.95. Let's take a look at the replay. What happened on lap 1 then? Steve Johnson just making contact with Morris Hayden, and then he holds the car beautifully as it went sideways. For the action then, and it is still Joe Girling who leads the way in this race then. He leads Gary Duckman, who runs in second position, and behind it side by side for fifth is Steve Johnson. Johnson makes his way there and up ahead of Anthony Williams, who wide, and now Johnson's run too wide through clearways, and I think they've both just about sorted themselves out now. So it is Joe Girling that leads, and as they head through Paddock Hill Bend, Gary Duckman not far behind at all the race leader as they head up into Druids, the right-handed hairpin, and you can see that the Vauxhall Astra is now just in front of Seat Leon, and then the second of the Seats in the hands of Luke Cordell there in the third position. He isn't too far behind the top two whatsoever at the moment, so it should be interesting to see if he can close in the top two. Cordell won the race yesterday and was leading the race today until the problem that he had, I think it was with the clutch or something on those lines. Anyway, leaders through Clark Curve, then they complete another lap of the race, just over 7.5 minutes in this motor race. Not long that doesn't seem to be as closer to Girling as he was the last time. They turned through back nickel bend, not much between the two cars. The two Duckman darts his car over the curbs as he tries to really close in Girling, and it's a great run up the hill. He had a look on the inside of the race leader, was unable to do anything there, but the two cars absolutely together as they head down the hill. Duckman perhaps losing just a bit of time. They're running a bit wide out of Druids. That's just giving Girling a car left, but that's not much at all. In terms of this production touring car race, it is super close out there. I think Cordell trying to close them in. I think he may well be doing that, but Girling's starting to make a Duckman, as you can see, look, that has gapped right up now. Girling had a good 3 or 4 car laps. That's the most he's had for a while then. So they head now through Clark down the Brabham straight, and it is Girling, it is Duckman, and it is Cordell. That is your podium position, cars then, and it's a Courtney Sport Vauxhall Astra that leads the way, and Duckman trying to carry the speed through Paddock Bend. We know he's pretty good because he managed to go right around the outside of the super quick driver through Paddock, Morris Hayden. Gary Duckman, the ex-Porsche 924 champion from a few years ago. Then he switched from the rear-wheel drive Porsches to the front-wheel drive Seat Leon. That he ended up on top of the tyre wall a couple of years ago at Druids in this championship. Well, back in the days when there was about 20 cars running in the production touring car championship, unfortunately only 7 out there today, but the racing just as good. It's super close out there in this reverse grid one, and a sort of format that is now adopting this championship, that exactly like being used in the British Touring Car Championship. Race 1 grid second, done on qualifying times, race 2 done on the results of race 1, and race 3 done on the reverse random number that from race 2 results. And it's working well, I think, because super close racing we got out there, and it is Gary Duckman really closing in the race 2 winner. Can Joe Girling hold off the Sayat driver for the rest of the race, we wonder, because it's certainly close out there, because Duckman could bring in that gap back that he lost a few laps ago now, with about 5 minutes to go. He knows there's not long left in this one. It's not the easiest track to overtake on. Can the Sayat do anything to get ahead of the Vauxhall? There's not much between them, like I say, now only about a car length. Duckman is going to try and carry the pace through Paddock Hill, maybe a bit too late. He couldn't quite clip the apex, I don't think, but he still had a good run through the corner up the hill. He decides, I think this time it's not quite close enough to find a way through, but he certainly will be in the next corner or two. Cordell not yet able to latch himself onto the back of the top two, which now turn through the left-hander Graham Hill bend. Now they head down the Cooper Straight. Duckman perhaps just losing a slight bit of time to Joe Girling behind Luke Cordell. Well, I think he was the mini challenge champion in the club class package. What we are seeing at the moment, brought race to the production. It was then, and then Cordell moved when the minis moved over to MSVR. Cordell running in the top class, finished second championship or third championship last year, a multiple race winner. Unfortunately, a big crash last meeting of the year, which caused problems for his championship as he wasn't able to compete in the final race, and therefore was had to Chris Knox to win the championship, the driver from Scotland who has returned to the championship this year, trying to be a double champion in the series. Anyway, back to this way. It's a duck kind of close in the race. Joe, there's not much to quite go with them. There's now fine at all still, and they turn through Paddock Hill Bend. It is still Girling just ahead of Gary Duckman as they head up towards the right-handed hairpin. It is still the Vauxhall just about in front, but he had to defend the line through the corner there as Duckman attacked him round the outside for Druid. He wasn't able to find a way through though at that point of precedence. Into the left-hander now at Surtees. About 2.5 minutes to go. It is the race leader, Joe Girling. After winning the race this morning, he runs 45 kilograms of success ballast, another feature adopted from the British Touring Car Championship. Gary Duckman, after having that problem like we were saying in a race 1, that spin we saw earlier in the programme, it meant that Duckman has no weight at all, and now he's right on the tail of Joe Girling heading up the hill. He was trying hard to find a way through. He wasn't able to find a way through though, but he's now right latched onto the back of Joe Girling as they head into the left-hander that is commonly known as Graham Hill Bend. Now they head down towards 30. It's the two cars absolutely together with Gary Duckman chasing after Joe Girling as they now turn into that right-hander that is clear ways, and look, a car length if that between the two machines that are leading the way here at Brands Hatch around this Indy circuit they're using today. And the pit board's out to the top two. No, there isn't long to go. I reckon 2 laps left. It's in now. So Girling into the right-hander, Paddock Hill Bend. Right behind him, his rival in this race, Gary Duckman. They head up the hill. It's going to be a tough ask, I think, for Duckman to find a way through, because he's been behind him now for the last 6 or 7 minutes and just not been able to find a way past Joe Girling. He's quick enough to obviously hold Duckman behind him at the moment. About a car length between them. They go through the left-hander at Graham and Wet. Now down the Cooper Straight for what we think is the penultimate time in this race. Can Duckman find a way through? He can't. We're just going to check that the time doesn't run out before. We make sure the checkered flag doesn't go out. No, we've got one more then, one to go in this production touring car race. The 3rd race of the weekend. And they turn through the right-hander. No changes there. So there's very few positions Duckman can do. But he's got a good run out of paddock. He's all over the back of Girling. But Girling sits the car right in the middle of the circuit. There's no way through for Gary Duckman when Girling defends the line like that. But Caudle really can't close the 2 in, can he? So, as we just see, go through into paddock. The battle for 5th continues, and Duckman's run out wide. He's run out wide out of Graham Hill Bend. So that's going to give the victory to Joe Girling. I don't think he's quite going to lap Sarah Franklin before the end of the race. She'll win, of course, again in Class B. But to win the race overall, Joe Girling will get 2 out of 2 today, 2 out of 3 this weekend at Brands Hatch. I'm sure you and a podium on yesterday's race. So I think it's a good weekend with Joe Girling. He takes the victory, and in 2nd is Gary Duckman. 3rd will go to the number 7 car, the Senate Leon of Luke Caudle. 4th position, who didn't fall too far behind in the end. That was Morris Hayden. He was our early race leader, and of course early on he saved on that lap 1. He saved that huge sideways moment. Fantastic save that was. 5th position there to Steve Johnson in the Vauxhall Astra. Anthony Williams in the McGann finished 6th, and Sarah Franklin the Bar 1 Class B in 7th. But overall, it was Joe Girling that won the race by just under 8 tenths of a second to Gary Duckman.